How's it going, everybody? My name is Sai, and it is part 2 of Justin Bonnet's week, so we're going to be checking out Beautifully Worthless Beings and the track/album Give Me a Day. Now, this is a single track that makes up the entirety of an album. It's about 30 minutes long, and it is about a spirit that is roaming around looking for a host to essentially possess its body and kind of trick the host into giving it up. I'm sure the lyrics are going to be a lot more complex than that, considering it's a Justin Bonnet's work, which means it's never that simple, but I've pulled it up just in case, so we're going to check that out. So, I'm going to have a full review/reaction kind of hybrid, the thing I've been doing lately, for From the Look of Things and the album The Summit, coming out as part 3 this week. But for this video, I figured we'll just go through something that I haven't done on this channel before, just no cuts, just the full reaction. I'll be talking a lot more during it, giving my insight, giving my thoughts, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So buckle up, grab some popcorn, and let's check out Give Me a Day. Go. Okay, that's it. We're off to a great start. Now you get to see the shit that I cut out all the time. You guys are in for a treat. Okay. Believe there's no video. I think this is just gonna be the picture for the whole thing. So we'll just... If you see me typing, I'm taking notes too, so... Hey there, he's already using that sample work that he kind of does in Hunger Lights. Has some breeze coming in. Very subtle in the background, but it's there. Nice building bass work. The characteristic bass I talked about in the Snail Fetus video. It's got a certain tone to it that just unmistakably Hunger Lights. A little bit of a slow build, but I mean, we have 30 minutes, so that's to be expected. Very nice, subtle, kind of muted elements here. And it's the second pop, but it's kind of the same riff, but just a little bit more punch to it. I feel a little bit more to it, you know? Let's crank this. Ooh, nice creepy little whispered vocals. Very operatic, very poetic. Oh, that kind of low, kind of creepy tone. Let's fucking go. A little bit of a mix-up this time. Liking the guitar work.
So here we go, already underway. So let me in, I'll show you what it feels.
There's the Kermit, and we've got some of that intensity. Kind of liking that palm muted riff there. It's keeping the intensity flowing despite being on the downslope. Nice groove. he's not afraid to go into very feminine slash out there territories. It's a lot like Serj Tankian a little bit. You know, he really can throw his voice into every direction very confidently. Hopefully that wasn't just cutting off all my audio. I'm sure it wasn't, but still. Poop. Yeah, just progressively getting more and more intense, even though I think that fucking is going to be a little bit of a crescendo today. What a one. Very quiet raps, little mix of it. So far, each part of the song has had its own little vocal niche, so it's really helped keeping it moving along. I like that part there a lot. Really great clean tone here. Got a little bit of soul in it, a little bit of that southern twang that he occasionally whips out. Really nice combination of elements that I love from all of his different albums and works. And I packaged it up neatly here with some experimental little things, some acoustic elements. I don't know what he's banging together. He's banging something together. Are we done? What? Oh, okay, no. Let's say that was way too fucking soon. And it's good. It's not like it's starting a whole new song here. This new act is starting up with a little continuation of the previous melody. Just recontextualized. Now, I can't help but read ahead a little bit in the lyrics, and I see scatting on there, an instrumental. It's really cool guitar effects here, though. I love that. I'm not sure precisely what that is. I know there's some tremolo in there, but I'm not sure what else is being played. Interesting playing with more raw guitar tone, smacks of kind of early Midwest emo with that feedback that turned on before the solo. It's really cool. Feels more emotional and weighty, you know? And it fades up to that clean, those lush cleans. Love it. Very good. Kind of almost 30s to 50s era. Voice very forward, lightly accented. Almost a little bit of a Sting sound too.
At least you're still a part of something.
I like it a lot, actually. That might be one of my favorite vocal inflections to come out of this guy. Oh. Oh. Oh, we're getting funky. Okay. Alright. Okay. And there's the scatting. Oh man. There's that feedback again. Solo. Ooh, bringing in the kind of Hungry Lights-esque guitar bass combo, but with a nice bouncy solo to keep that same vibe. That's all right. We're really mixing it up here. Up to this point, it was kind of like just like a Hungry Lights B-side almost, but now added some really interesting elements here. Getting to the foreboding section. Nice little background false chord there. I don't know why I'm saying false chord. All of his streams are false chord. Except for recently. Big guttural is what I'm about to say. He's playing the pity part, it sounds like. I haven't been paying as close attention to the lyrics as I probably wanted to at the beginning of this, but I've just been so immersed in the music. But I could tell he's clearly trying to convince the guy right here. Bringing it back to that element from the very beginning. Okay. So we got some continuity throughout this. Very 2112.
Just give me
Or not. What do you say? Dream. His fucking voice. Okay, it's a little bit hard to pick out in the mix, but there was this really shrill whistle in the right channel when he did that scream. Was that him? Holy shit, if that was him. Damn, that's impressive. That was sustained too. A little bit of imperfection in that riff. Very nice. Those humanistic qualities are always nice to hear. Again with the feedback. I like that. I really like the tone of that riff. chaotic, very different sounding. Alright. Alright. Shit, I just realized I have my mic turned down this whole time. Hopefully, the rest of this video was audible, but if not, I fixed it. Fuck. Can't really reshoot it. Book. Playing with more demented vocal tones here. Definitely the darkness is seeping in.
This would be my new style, and it'll feel
I'm trying to think. This is... He's doing something with the lyrics. I don't know if this is through the POV of the victim or the spirit. And I am not sure. I might have missed something early on that would have told me that. Check that out during this slower bit. We've got a slight tweak and variation of the intro riff. Fucking, sexy bass. Pay some attention to that bass, yo. Very good. It's a nice dynamic, audible little lick that stands out from everything else and really brings a nice low end to this lush guitar work on the right and left.
See, I had forgotten something very important. Yes, in my own excitement, I began fighting out crusades for riches and glory and power. What did I know of freedom? I was an ignorant peon who was born into a life of certitude, obliging diamond-encrusted monsters that would swallow up my kind on a whim. This was the only thing a man in my position could dream of, and caught up in the moment, I had suddenly realized that I had been played.
This is where it's confusing me. He's been played, or is the soul trying to play for sympathy by saying it's been played? I have no idea what's going on. I have fallen off the story track, but I love its intensity with that voice. He has a great way of writing emotionally intense lyrics and bringing that insane anguish and anger into his voice at the same time. As far as theatrical thematics go, nails it every time. Another different vocal inflection. Should take a notepad and count down every time he does this.
So I begged all night, and I cried. Yes, I held on to nothing. I'd not be me
You a classy man that drinks water out of a panda cup. Okay, we're building something. What are we building to? He's gonna pop. Smell it. I really do think we are talking in the perspective of the victim here. Dangly girls. Okay. That's one of those desperate, like, howling breaths, kind of like out of Pilly T now. Ooh. Actually, a really good hook there. I never think of his music as very hooky, but this is that hook that is nice. Very catchy and very melodic and intentional. Emotional. I'm gonna miss being able to cut these. Oh no. Okay, it is not. I see. Is it from both perspectives? Are we bouncing back and forth? Or is it once again the spirit? You've been cheated just... okay. I have figured it out. It was the spirit the whole time. The whole story of being cheated was just a sort of bluff, a sort of sympathy pill to make the victim let their guard down and then swarm in and take over. Nice moody guitar here, again. It's good shit. I got Southern Crossroads Damon here. You made the deal with me. Give it up, boy. Come on. Come on. Dang. Even the way he says other, like he just nails his accent for other way. He's got that good twang in there. You can learn a lot about you diversifying your voice just from listening closely, because a lot of what he does is laid so bare and so raw that it's kind of easy to pick up on what he's doing. It's probably what makes him a great coach. At least I'm assuming. I really love all the really intense southern inflections here. It has given it such a crossroads tragedy sort of ordeal. Building up. Woo! Some really, really great runs and melodies in this section too. Every few seconds we have a new run and melody. This has got a completely different vibe, but it works just as well with the other one because it's got the same moods behind it. That was massive. That was beautiful. You can feel it coming too. Like you saw, it reacted before it even happened. You could just feel it building up in your fucking core. You knew that was the moment shit was going. The way his voice is more forward, rising up like that, a little bit of rise in the bass, getting ready to pop. And it's still not at the height, because now it's time to get a little bit nasty. I'm gonna start getting some anger.
Be sparing his tongue.
He's the cat that got the cream here. He's not only has he won, but he's kind of rubbing it in. Oh yeah, I'd spare your tongue. Space.
My last thoughts before I inhabit this new space. It's curious, the separation between the body and the soul. You see, a body doesn't remember, but a soul never forgets, and it's curious to know that somewhere out there,
through the delays out left and right, very interesting surrounding ethereals. Building bass, leading into the guitar riff. I'm gonna start screaming at the end of this.
Plunging down from the heavens only to deceive you into giving up yourself. A trick! A happy little trick it was! And now there you go! Look at you go! Oh, I remember that feeling well! That feeling of being so... lost.
Hey, alright, so the story wasn't a lie. That wasn't a bluff. It's interesting. We're going to talk about lyrical content at the end of this for sure. How many elements can you pack into one work of art and it still sounds overall cohesive? It's those breaths too. Those breaths say just as much as the screams, you know? He got a really intense scream tone, but then he just gets this little... He doesn't just breathe, he has to like harshly inhale it. It's almost like he's doing an inhale scream. You know, obviously he doesn't. It's bad, don't do that, right? And it's super interesting. We'll stand. Oh, I genuinely was not expecting that. That electronic modulation. This whole song has been so analog up until that point. Is that it? Am I done? That was actually kind of a brisk 30 minutes. That was pretty fucking good. Okay, let's talk about it. So that was Give Me a Day, and that was a very, very interesting track. It's kind of funny. Beautifully Worthless Beings being the song and a lyric within it is kind of meta a little bit, because I felt like it just kind of worked for a band title. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're the Beautifully Worthless Beings. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. But it's actually talking about the duality of the spirit and the body. Now let's talk about the lyrics a little bit, since I'm already starting a tirade on the story here. So essentially the gist of the story is spirit comes down and tells this body, or this person, this host, a sad tale about how it was deceived out of its body. It then proceeds to do the precise same thing to the person, basically bragging that he wrestled the guy free from his body and plans to use it however the fuck he wants, and essentially kind of equates it to being, you know, just, you know, it's, it happened to me, it's gonna happen to you, it'll probably happen to the next guy too, it is what it is, you know. It's very interesting because it is very much a eye for an eye tale. It's very much a, somebody caused me this problem, so I'm going to take it out on somebody else. Which I actually really liked, because I think that when he's telling him the story about how he's been deceived, he's not lying. He was deceived out of his body, and now this spirit has been roaming for years to find a new body to do it to. And this spirit has collected resentment, has collected anger, and it is tired of being a spirit, and it wants to have a physical host. So it goes to the same lengths as its previous host, who, for all we knew, could have had the same situation. You know, it could be an endless cyclical event. Endless cyclical event where this new person who's now without a host, without a shell, is going to eventually wander around and deceive somebody else out of their shell, and it's just going to keep happening again and again. And that's a very interesting concept in my opinion, and that one that I could be completely reading into way too much, but I kind of think that is sort of an interesting take or spin on it at the very, very least. As for the content of the music, I was impressed with how diverse it was, but I'm starting to notice something. I spoke on this pattern before. Hungry Lights had a very distinctive sound that was throughout the whole thing. I'm starting to now realize that it's less of a Hungry Lights sound and more of a Justin Bonnet sound. The guitar tone, the usage of acoustic elements, and very scant analog sounding sampling. It doesn't sound like he's using electronic elements so much as he is recording it in an environment where these sounds would be happening on the microphone. So if you're actually recording on the shores for the Uriah Ascent, or you're recording out in the breeze while the wind blows by ominously for the beginning of the song. And I think it's a really cool way of things, and it makes his work stand out so starkly, because seriously, you can pick this out from anything. His work is instantly recognizable at this point, and like I said again, in that combination of the bass and guitar, creating kind of a very chunky, almost industrial sounding mixture, which I don't hear anywhere else. Because it's usually, you know, one of the other element is drowned in the mix, but they're always so forward and so prominent and so pingy on the treble that it makes for an interesting element. And his vocals are very pingy on the treble too. He's got some good low end on there, but he really balances those higher ends when he's not only when he's singing, but when the mixes are coming through. So one element that usually you get with him is a lot of layered vocals. He really lays those bare when he does the Hungry Lights instrumental tracks that he drops out. And those are really cool because they let you kind of get an insight on how he mixes his shit. And they are mixed in a very interesting way. They're constantly throwing doubles and triples of the vocals here and there in the mix and creating kind of an insane sound. But it's all subliminal because a lot of it gets drowned into the instrumental mixes. So it's kind of like it's digging at your head. It's a little bit of the same technique used in certain horror films, like Irreversible, for example, where it utilizes kind of subliminal sound or less obvious sound to evoke a feeling, evoke disorientation and confusion. Or in the case of said movie, it uses very deep low-end growl throughout the whole movie to give unease, to make people stressed and uncomfortable during the runtime. So it's kind of a very similar mixing style, I believe. Keep in mind, I don't have any insight onto his stuff until he leaves the comments below, where he does like to give some insight, which is really cool of him. But this is kind of what I think is happening, what I got out of it. I also really like the kind of beginning section, like I'd say like 7 minutes in, where it was very bouncy and fun, almost kind of like a 60s to 80s pop tune. And then they had some more like even earlier inflections with just stripped down vocals that were glitzed in a little bit of reverb and soul and very airy. Very different for him, for sure. Not used to hearing that tone out of his music, but it is really cool to hear it. And then he had the more familiar elements like the southern drawl. He had a lot of that in kind of mid sections of Hungry Lights work, and I really liked hearing it implemented here. Once again, it feels like it's taking a diverse mix of all the different genres. It had some of the electronic chaos from Talla at the very end, had some of the Hungry Lights elements completely sprinkled throughout, trademark storytelling, acoustic instruments, mixing, and vocal inflections all the way through. It had those really sharp, emotional, harsh breathing techniques from the Pearly T album. It's just kind of a culmination of vibes. Now, I will say, for total transparency, at this point I have recorded the review and reaction for reactions, I should say. People who've watched my videos know what I'm talking about, for the Summit. And there is a little bit of the similar stuff here. I think that one really showcases the range of vocals he's going for, because he does a lot of softer vocals on that one. And a lot of different draws and accents are kind of the forefront for the sound in that album. And once again, a lot of draws and accents are really the forefront for the sound. When he's speaking as the spirit in a malicious way, he gets that really loud growl. He gets that to it. A little, just a hint of spice and aggression, while remaining a little bit whimsical, because it is, at the end of the day, a former mortal. It is not some sort of omnipotent being or god. It is just somebody who's been fucked over and now feels like it's gonna fuck somebody else over. So there's a lot of really cool and diverse elements going into here. I could wax lyrical about tempo changes, but I think we all know that there is about a dozen in here, as with most prog epics. A lot of different time signature tweaks and little details, little technical details. I don't really like to mess around with said technical details too much. I do it with production, because I think production is a very interesting element that is very often ignored in metal music. Even though the artists put a lot of work into it, I feel like the listeners like to confuse sharp, contrasty production elements with completely raw, which is completely untrue. Like, this is a really well produced record, but I don't think this is a completely raw record. I believe he's produced it quite intensely, like anybody else does. It's just the reality of the world we live in, and it's the reality of the world has always been. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's very well done to a point where it can sound so natural and full, while kind of cleaning elements up and casting a bunch of elements that help tell the story. So that's why I focus on those elements a lot, and I don't really needle into technical elements. Like, he did arpeggios on the guitar at 3, 2, and 4, and 14/16 of a time signature. Wow, it's so eloquent. It is like a Phrygian timetable of Einstein's work. No, I don't do that shit. And people who can do that shit, more power to them. I feel like there's tons of them on YouTube, though, so if we could check those out. With my little diatribe out of the way, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching if you have somehow made it this far. And yeah, we're going to have one last video on Justin Bonnet's The Summit. And after that, it's pretty much going to be a wait for the new records that come out whenever they do. So, thank you so much for joining me this far on this journey. Maybe if I get the balls, I'll have some covers out that reflect some of this work, but I wouldn't plan on it anytime soon. I got a lot of work to go before I can cover his range, and with any sort of confidence. But, you never know what could happen. As for that, if you like this, of course, as always, I will leave Bandcamp links down below, because he's fortunately got Bandcamp for all of his musical works. Preferably purchased through there. That is usually where the musicians get the best cut of music, as far as I'm aware. So, rather than stream, if you are able to buy it, please do. I'm going to die. If you liked this video, the usual information, subscribe, all that good shit. Linktree is down below if you want to follow social media. I try to be somewhat present on every platform, though Facebook I kind of slack on a little bit. So Twitter and Instagram are your best bets, as well as Discord. I have a Discord group. You can join in there, join the discussion. We'll talk about a bunch of new music releases, old music releases, video games, etc. It really is just kind of a catch-all place and a great community to hang out in that is growing every day. And then I have my Twitch streams, which up until now have been completely music focused, though I am switching gears a little bit with kind of trying to cleanly mesh music into multiple genres. So you'll see I will be doing streams of some of my editing process. I'll be doing streams of some of me recording the vocal covers and tracking and all that good shit. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Leave a follow there if you're interested in live streams and that kind of content, and hopefully we'll have some cool shit for you there. Outside of that, I think I'm done with all the plugging, and I think I'm done with this. So thank you so much for watching once again. This is a really awesome track. I was glad to hear it. Hopefully it is not too chaotic with my lack of editing. Take care, guys.